I do a lot of work together, and it's great to be doing this as a joint call this morning. Handing over to Kathy now.
Hello everybody, my name is Kathy Ennis and I'm a business mentor. So that means that in my business, Little Piggy, what I do is I help people, I talk about taking people from passion to profit. So the kinds of businesses I work with tend to be female run, they tend to be run by females probably over the age of 40, and they tend to be one-person operations as well. So it's about helping them understand how to structure their businesses, but also implement the processes and systems in their business that can help it move from a passion point where they might be doing okay through to a profitable point where they're doing even better. And as Emma said, we work quite extensively together. She's very much the hands-on social person. She knows, well, I was just going to swear there, but I'll say she knows her stuff. And I'm much more the strategy side. So I'm the why you should be doing it, and a tiny bit of the how.
Brilliant, thanks Kathy. So shall I kick it off, everybody? Today's session is about how to keep your business visible in this time of crisis. Now, I'm sure everybody feels just as I do, our worlds have been turned upside down overnight, especially our business lives. So Kathy and I have put together something that we hope will help people ride the storm and come out the other side with a business that has been marketed throughout, has been put on social media, and can weather the storm and come out really strong. And that's the premise of today's talk. Please feel free to add in any questions in the chat. Kathy and I love to answer your personal questions, and if they're specific about your business, please feel free. I'm going to kick off with why it's important to keep going. I have spoken to lots and lots of business owners over the last 10 days, and all of them are saying, we don't know what to put out. We don't want to come across as selling our services, but we need to continue to make money. We want people to still remember us. Help, what should we do? So I would say kind of number one top tip here is we have to reinvent ourselves for this period. It's no good just putting out the same stuff that we did last month. In many circumstances with retail businesses and bricks and mortar store, you can't put out what you did before. So it's really a time to look at what assets we've got in our business and what we can be saying. And at the moment, we're seeing that a lot of our clients and people that we're speaking to are pivoting from offline models to online models. So we're working with people like wellness practitioners, coaches, beauty therapists, who are saying, look, people can't come to my salon or practice anymore. What do I do? And I would say, really think about how you can continue to promote yourself as a thought leader and an expert in your field. And that could be just something very simple as getting up every single day, which will give you a routine. And that's something that I'm learning right now, that routine is everything right now. Go onto Facebook Live and share a top tip. Give somebody a tutorial. Talk about how somebody can still feel beautiful even though they're stuck at home. We've got a lovely salon owner client, and I saw her on the Thursday before we got locked down. On the Friday, she had to close her business, and on the Saturday, her emails got hacked. Like, she had an absolutely awful week. So we're working together about how she can transfer everything that's up here, all that skill and knowledge that she's got, and still communicate that to her clients. So she's doing YouTube tutorials. She's going into Facebook Live and talking about how people can keep healthy, keep themselves feeling beautiful, because when we feel okay and we're not just dressed in our pajamas, then our mood's going to be a lot brighter. So really try and do something that you can impart wisdom. A lot of people are on a share tips and advice. I would say that's great, but you still need to protect your income as much as anybody else. So look at business, and I know Kathy can talk about this in a minute, but look at your business and see what product staircase you've got from taking somebody for example, my gym guy, he's an amazing PT. He has pivoted everybody from face-to-face training to an online model where they check in once a week on Zoom. We have our photos still, we have a daily tracker for our calories and weight. And, you know, he's not making the same amount of money, but he has got a consistency of income there. And that's really important for the self-employed members of the group, especially the ones like that can't apply for the government furlough grant as well. So any income, or however small, is better than none. I would say also that this time is a period of remembering that each of us started our business for a reason. So we each have our own personal drivers, and not to let that go. I'm personally not in a position where I can sit back for the next 3 months and wait and see what happens. I need still need to keep going. So that kind of routine and mental structure, right, today I am going to share a Facebook Live, but I am going to create content. I am going to update my content calendar. Today I've got an offer on April's content. So if anybody is thinking, I haven't written April's content yet, I've got a content calendar coming out today, so I'll share the links on that. And that kind of framework and keeping you methodical and putting these systems in place, I'm sure will help all of us get through this weird and unprecedented time. Kathy, anything to add on that section?
Yeah, I think there's a balance to be made here, and Emma touched on it there a moment ago about the difference between people not wanting to feel that they're being selly. I think one of the things we have to remember that we're still businesses, and we still need to maintain that. We still need to sell stuff. Emma and I had a conversation yesterday with a client who was saying, you know, I've developed this program that I want to work with people on, but I don't want to feel as if I'm selling it. But the fact of the matter is that we've still got to pay for food, we've still got to pay for utilities, all of those kinds of things. And I think there is a difference between being overtly salesy, but the recognition that as businesses we still need to sell our products. And so there may be something that is stopping us being able to transfer that model. So if you are a hands-on service like a beauty therapist or a hairdresser or something like that, obviously you're not going to be able to do that kind of thing. But there would be nothing stopping you either doing it as a free model or we won't use the word free, we'll use a complementary model, or whether it's a small price model about working with people on, you know, let me demonstrate how to do a home facial. There'd actually be nothing stopping you, if you sell those products, actually selling those products to those people and getting them delivered or posted to those people so that they can work with you at home. Talking to a good friend of mine the other day who owns a really lovely Italian restaurant, and the idea we were talking about was perhaps on Fridays he could do date nights, so he could actually be doing, you know, I'm in my kitchen, I'm cooking this Italian meal, cook along with me, that kind of thing. So don't feel that you have to take on tortoise mode and just go back in on yourself, because you know, this thing will end, and at the end of it, we still want a viable business. So think about the help and support that you can give that might be on a complementary basis, but also think about, is there anything in your product line or in the services that you offer that you could turn into either an online model or into a delivery model, because that would actually still keep things ticking over for you.
That's great advice. Thank you, Kathy. And I was going to add to that in terms of what to post on social media around that. I think each of us in our business will be doing daily stuff, whether it's just as simple as writing out our to-do list, having our first cup of coffee of the day, opening the window, looking out, even though we're not allowed to go out, we can still look at the view. And I think there are assets that we can use in our business. As Kathy said, if we're still allowed to deliver our services to people online, then we can take a snapshot of a Zoom call and post that to show people that we're still open for business. I think that's really important, to show people that we're still here. It's a competitive world at the best of times, let alone with what's going on at the moment. So if we can show people that we're doing what we do, albeit a different way, that's going to hold you in good stead for when you come out of the other end, people still know that you've been operational for that whole time. You could do things like, if you are still able to post your products, you could do little posts and boomerang videos of you wrapping up and putting an address label on and putting a stamp on. That kind of thing shows people that you are open for business, and we all are, just in a different way. So have a think about your daily routine. What are the image opportunities? Even if it's a selfie, people love to buy from people. So just seeing your face will encourage people to go, oh yeah, I must drop you a line, see how you're getting on. And it kind of opens up that conversation. And I think personally for me, this last week and this week, the more I've interacted with real life human beings, the better I've felt. So a few selfies of you in your habitat, in your home office, showing people your surroundings would be a really great way of keeping you front of mind from a personal point of view.
Yeah, I totally agree, because with most of us, with vast majority of us, our businesses are so centralized around our proximity to our customers. You know, it's not like when customers phone a large corporation and they get through to perhaps a call center or a switchboard. More often than not, with us, our customers pick up the phone to phone us and they speak to us directly. So that keeping that connection going is absolutely vital. You don't want people to forget that you exist, and we all know how much information is flooding in every day in the normal circumstance, but at this particular point in time, it seems to be in overdrive. So we do want to make sure that people still recognise us, and you know, the message is, I'm still here. That's the basic thing to keep going.
I think also to tap into the mood of the moment. So all of us are seeing fairly similar posts from our friends and family. There's quite a few kind of memes and GIFs that people are using. Tap into that moment and look at how that you can incorporate that within your business as well. So if, for example, there's a post yesterday that said, it was like a word count, and it said, where will you be going on holiday this year? And the answer was nowhere. That could be transformed into tell us your favourite destination. Where, if you could, where would you be right now? Just those opinion-based posts. People love to talk about themselves and they love to share what they think. So if you can morph that and make it relevant and relatable in your business, that would be that'd be a great thing. Stuff like, what was the first thing that you would do after lockdown? Where will you be going first? The pub, the restaurant, or somewhere else? You know, those really kind of viral, shareable posts will do really well right now, because people are looking for posts to interact with, because they're not getting their normal level of interaction right now apart from social media. I was going to say,
in a moment. So I was going to say that this is the thing that a lot of people are missing in terms of that social interaction, is that bumping into folks and having a conversation. So if you can translate that into the kinds of things that you're doing online, that conversation piece, that's going to be the thing that actually starts to bring people towards you. And you know, in a very very practical sense, it's going to do wonders for your algorithm. So the more you can get people to interact with what you're doing, the better your profile is going to be.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Kathy. The algorithm wants to see people commenting and liking your posts. So the more the easier you make it for somebody just to type in a yes or an ABC or a 1 to 10, the algorithm will really like that, and it shows them that actually people are resonating with your content. So have a think about what's trending, what are those viral posts, and how you can morph that for your business. And I was going to be the boring one and say, I'm going to give you some homework now. While we can't do what we do normally, now's a really great time to check your social media profiles are all up to date. Make sure that you've got statements as your pinned posts on your profiles, showing people what your new operation model is. Show people how they can still get in touch with you, and include your offers. It's a great time as well to be starting to plan your content for the months ahead, or the quarter ahead. I'll drop in the link to our content calendar for April shortly. We always say that none of us have got any time to plan ahead or to do things that we should be doing. So now is the time, whether you like it or not, that actually we can spend an hour or two a day looking at what lead magnets we can do, what email campaigns we can do, how we can start preparing to keep us in front of mind, but also to make sure that we've got a sense of normality, whatever normality is right now. We know that we're all going to have a new normal, but those kinds of systems and processes, I promise, will keep our heads straight and also feel that we're taking proactive action in our business. Personally, I was finding it quite difficult a couple of weeks ago to control, to start thinking about things that I can't control. And yesterday I spoke to Tanya and gave me some great advice. So I can control now what lead magnets I write. I can control what blogs I produce, what videos. And the more I can control, the more in control I feel. I don't know if anybody else is finding that a struggle right now. I know that I did 2 weeks ago. So for me to plan my content, to think about what am I doing tomorrow, what am I doing next week, it has certainly helped me get a little bit more structure in my day.
Can I just jump in, ladies, because that's a really interesting point, that actually, Emma, you hadn't met Tanya.
No.
We started doing the Zoom meetings and the International Women's Day conference. So don't think that you can't network during the lockdown, because you can network and you can still make new connections. So that's a
great point. Yeah, Tanya and I hadn't met each other until yesterday, when Tanya kindly did a workshop for us, and really great practical tips. And I think that human to human bond and interaction is even more important right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I jump in then with a few sort of practical things that I think that you could and should be looking at as well? Because I want to pick up on something that Emma just said, and it's this whole thing about be careful what you wish for, because sometimes you might get it. And this thing about having some time to do things. I'm not judging or thinking about anybody's personal circumstances, but the likelihood is that if we're not going out and about, there will be a little bit maybe of elbow room that we can use. And I think that there are a few very practical things that you could and should be looking at, because what I'd really love to see in terms of positivity at the end of this experience that we're having is that people come out at the end with things within their businesses being a little bit more polished and ready and sort of, hello world, here I am again kind of thing. So I wanted to just look at a few areas that I think could be areas for you to concentrate on. So the first one I'd think about is your website. Now, if you haven't got one, this would be a really, really good time to start thinking about getting one. And I'm not saying it has to be all singing and all dancing, but even if it's just a really nice page that you can start directing people to, that would be brilliant. But if you do have a website, I would be doing all of the things about making sure that website was working as well as it could and should be, and maybe even spending a little bit of time online on some of the courses that are available to allow you to understand a little bit more about how the back ends of websites work. But I think the thing that I'd be looking at on my website is, number one, I'd be looking at things like the very, very basic menu structure. Making sure that the top level menu, the home, the about, those kinds of things are actually in good order. If you're using terminology that isn't Google recognized, Google loves simple things. It likes words like about, it likes words like contact, it likes words like blog. If you're using words that are not as simple as that, I'd go back to changing them to what they are. I'd think about how many pages you've got on your website and how easy it is for people to navigate the way around your website, and whether you might want to condense it a little bit or change things up in terms of the way it's presented. I definitely have a good go at your copy and make sure that it's up to date and that it's still relevant and that what you're offering is shown in the best possible light. And one key thing about the copy on your website, make sure that it's talking to the customer and potential customer about what they get from you rather than what you give them. So if you're using I or we, start using sentences that start with you or your, and see what happens to the grammatical structure of that paragraph or that sentence. Because really what we should be doing in the copy on our site is telling people what they get from us, not what we give them. Check your images, make sure that they're loading properly. If you've got images that are too large on your website, it can actually slow your website down. So if you're using primarily, for example, PNG based images on your site, it's likely to slow your website down. So it might be a good idea to try and convert those into smaller file sizes like JPEGs, and then just putting them back into the site so that it can contribute more effectively that way. Making sure that the images are still representing what you do and how you do it, all of those kinds of things. And also making sure that in each of your areas, on each of your pages, there's a strong call to action. If people are going to visit a page, get them to do something when they visit. Call you, download something, anything, join my Zoom group, come and join my Facebook group, whatever it might be. Make sure you've got a call to action. So the first thing is tidy up your website. The second thing, and this might sound quite hard-hearted, but one of the key things about the situation that we find ourselves in now, and is that we can actually use it to start building connections with people that are not connected with us at the moment. So we could actually use our social to start building up our email list, our email marketing list. So if you have got something that you can share with people, like a downloadable resource, make sure that you've got that front and center everywhere, so that you can then start tying that into whichever email marketing system you're using to bring people in, so that you can keep communicating with them. Make sure on your website that all the social media icons are actually linked, number one, because lots of websites you'll see them and they're not linked at all, and or that they're linked to go to the right place, because again, people change where they want people to go to, so they might be working more out of a Facebook group now rather than out of a Facebook page. So make sure the link sitting behind that Facebook icon takes them to the right place. Okay. If you haven't done it already, I would make sure that you investigate something called the Facebook Pixel, which is something that goes along with your Facebook ads account, and it's a bit of HTML code that goes on your website that will allow you to track visits, which will, when you then get into Facebook advertising, if you're not doing it already, will allow you to actually really target your adverts at the right people. And the other thing, and I'd put this into like what I'd call the conversion model, if you are bringing people into an email system, so for example, you might be using MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Campaign Monitor, Constant Contact, whatever it is, if you're bringing people in by offering them something, each one of those systems has sitting behind it something called an autoresponder, which is an automated email. Make sure that you've got a welcome email, so that when people do come into a list because they've downloaded something from you, etc., that there's a really nice email goes out to them that says, you know, thanks so much for wanting my resource, my item, whatever it might be. I share information on this kind of stuff. This is where you can find me. It's about creating that community. Okay. Take some time to think about, as Emma said, what you're going to be creating to send out there. So use her content calendar, because it's brilliant to start planning what it is that you want to be doing in the next month. You can be spontaneous, but be spontaneous within planned output rather than necessarily just spontaneous. Because, as I say, all of this is about making sure that you're keeping that connection. Up your visual content, because this is the kind of stuff that people are really liking. So if all of your posts are just long form comment, absolutely fine, but make sure you put a good picture in there as well, because that will be the thing that will encourage people to look more closely at that post. Keep what you're doing regular. Sorry, I just had this thing about not being able to get any prunes And it just came into my mind. I'm so sorry. It must be a bit of cabin fever. But what I'm saying here is that if you're going to create a social media plan, an output plan, do something that you can actually cope with. So if you can cope with doing a Facebook post every day, make sure that you do it every day. But if you can't, say how many times a week you can do it. It's exactly the same with any other social thing that you do. Don't attempt to give yourself too many things to do, because we've still got life going on around us. But commit to the things that you can do with the time that you've got, and make sure that you do them. So if that's, say, and I think this would work quite well, an email out to your list once a week, a supportive email, something just keeping them up to date. It has, quite short, 20 lines of text, no more than that, really nice image in it. If you can say, I'm going to do an Instagram story twice a week, or I'm going to do a Facebook post 3 times a week, make that commitment and actually stick to it, because consistency builds credibility. And if people start to see the regular stuff coming out, believe me, they'll be waiting for it. You will get comments from people saying, oh, I was expecting your thing today and it didn't come. Okay, so it's much more about that. And what I will throw into the mix here as another thing, start planning for when this thing isn't happening. Okay, start thinking about that on the day they sound the klaxon and we get the all clear and we can all run out and hug and kiss each other again, even total strangers. Have a plan for something that you want to market. So start getting something together now, so that on that day you've got something to go immediately, because that means you're going to be ahead of that wave of people that have just sat back on their laurels. I hope you found that helpful. I had a bit of paper in front of me, so I didn't see the comments, but the joys of working at home with a teenager.
I could hear his music going in the bathroom, so I was frantically trying to go, shush, I'm doing a live. But
I'm just thinking of the joys of working at home with 2 cats who don't understand closed doors. And they have very big bells. So I don't know if you heard the one earlier, but she was tinkling around all over the place. So.
No, good. So I was going to say, Ali told me it was fine to say we've got a workshop happening on Friday, Kathy and I, about how to keep your business visible. So diving much deeper into all the topics that we've touched on today, we're going to be looking at how to communicate, what to say, when to say it, and on what platforms, and how really to use this opportunity to keep you, like we say, front of mind, but also keep your coffers ticking over as well. So I'm going to add in the link to that in the comments, and then I'll talk to Ali later about how to add it onto the Facebook group. So if anybody has found that of interest and would like to learn a little bit more about the techniques that you can employ right now, feel free to join us on Friday. So I'm going to put the Eventbrite ticket in the chat.
Perfect, good. Well, thank you very much, ladies. Emma, could you just tell us your company again, because I didn't press the record button whilst watching Anne, we missed off the beginning part. So if you just tell us your company again and what you do.
That's absolutely fine. So Emma from 24 Fingers. 24 Fingers is a social media agency helping people that all fingers and thumbs get the best out of their social media.
Perfect, good. Well, thank you both very much, Emma.
Our
and Kathy.
pleasure.
And you can connect with the ladies after. Tracy Baxter is saying, is it possible to get the links from last week's blogging workshop? Is that?
Yeah, if everyone connects, I'll put in Kathy and I's email address.
Perfect, good.
Feel free to connect with us, and then we can send you everything you need.
Great, that's brilliant. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thanks very much.
And
thanks,
hope
Sally.
to see you all soon. Jackie Groundsell is doing daily Zooms as well. So if you want information from Jackie, please connect with her. She's Jackie Groundsell on Facebook, or 12:30 Jackie on Twitter. Good. Thanks, ladies. See you all.
Thanks,
very much. Lovely to see you all.
Bye.